Hey, Marzi, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, man. Good. This
Who am
is
I speaking
Bay.
with? Bay?
Bay.
Bay,
Really,
man. Nice to meet you, Bay.
you too, man. Which it's kind of crazy because I get like probably 2, 3 dozen emails a day from all different. I never
Okay.
get to half of them. So when I got yours, and I'm gonna be honest, like I didn't even know who the name was. Like I was like, all right, but I saw the Ripper Owens, so it grabbed my attention. So
Sure.
we get this set up, and then I get to sit and really learn about you and all. And I'm not even going to go on to like working with Phil Anselmo and stuff like that. Like the thing that like grabbed me right away, I was like, now I know this guy. You played the Randy Rhoads Remembered shows.
Yes. Yeah, I sure have, man. That's one of the highlights of the year is get to do the Randy Rhoads gig. Um, for one, the Rhoads family is just beautiful people. Randy's such a great influence in my life, and
Yeah,
it's just everybody that's around, man. Okay, all the guitar players that I've met through it. I get to meet Akira from Loudness. That was a
wow.
really big treat for me. That was a really big treat for me. And I've seen, it's just been a, great experience and a lot of love for it. So yeah, man, I've been around, but I've been that guy. I've been, I've been a character actor.
Now,
Under the
how is
radar are a lot of people, but it's fine. It's fine. I've been doing what I've been doing all my life, which is something that I've loved. So for me, you know, I've had goals and I've achieved a lot of them, but to be a household name hasn't been one. I'm hoping to become more popular in the sense that of the message that I'm bringing
right?
now that with the new label and with the music and of it being a positive notion altogether. I mean, and I truly mean that. And as brutal as the music is, and parts, and as beautiful as it is in parts, it's just I'm trying to make a movement with my music now. With more eyes on me, and I'm blessed to be working with on this one EP. Having such a great talent as Tim. And asking him to do and to bring his um, talent in and do something quite different than he's done before. And he actually did that, and he did that without, a lot of, after a couple of initial messages about song titles and what they were about, I didn't say anything to Ripper, man. I didn't even almost have to. I think, I think, in all honesty, check this out. After he sent me all of his tracks, I ended up asking him to do like this, like like a scream, but like a long one coming up,
Okay.
that he didn't do. And in the end, check this out. At the very end, we decided against it, or I decided against it with the engineer. And I was like, man, he actually had delivered a perfect body of work to me. He did it, I guess, in Akron, where he's from, and he gave me so many tracks to work with. And then I picked and choose the ones that are really, really, that stood out, that were different, and then send that to the engineer. And Chris Collier, who also played bass on the record, he's from Los Angeles actually, and there, and I'm really pleased with what the turnout was. I'm really happy with the musicianship, what I was in it. The way Chris played the bass on it and stuff. I had written the bass lines for it, and he delivered it perfect. Adam Dennis, I wrote the drum parts for it. He delivered it perfect. And Tim was the one that just, I gave him song titles and subject matter. And again, the one thing I asked him to do extra, we didn't even use because he had delivered a perfect body of work. And he's such a great guy to work with. Man, I'll be honest with you, he's such a cool guy to work with, and he's a lifer. Good sense of humor, articulate man, good business guy, and it was a pleasure to have him on this EP, which is an appetizer for the label, Country Western Records. And it is, in actuality, the second time Tim and I have worked together. We did the Judas Priest tribute album called, we did a track called Exciter, one track, on a tribute album called Hellbent Forever. There's a lot, Sepultura's on it. I want to say Megadeth was, I said Megadeth, the Mighty Motorhead was on it, I want to say. I mean, don't miscook me. It's been a while. So when this came about, when I called him up, he just nailed it out and killed it. We played one show together here in Houston to celebrate it, sort of. And we played that show with one rehearsal. He flew in on Friday. We practiced Friday. And we had a very short practice day. We had a really, really short practice because this is not something you would hear from Tim. This is not something I would expect to hear from Tim. But he calls me and he goes, man, I never lose my voice, but I lost my voice. I'm kind of nervous about the gig. And I'm like, you're joking, right? He's like, no. We were texting back and forth, and I was like, wow, he's not joking. So we picked him up, and he could have fooled me because when we went to do the rehearsal, mind you, one evening, just a couple of hours maybe, he did great, and we went over what we need to go over, and then the next evening, which was Saturday night in Houston when we played, we didn't even, the band did sound check, but he was absent because we wanted to just reserve his mic for the show, and he came up there, because he had just come from a long stint, and he killed it, man. And the vibe in the room was so, you could feel the love in the room. It was totally awesome.
It sounded awesome.
Yeah, that's a camera clip. That's it's not off the soundboard or anything like that. They got it. We didn't even know he came to do it. And afterwards, he's like, hey, man, I brought a couple of cameras up and set it up with the club owner told me to. It was cool. And I was like, yeah, man, let me check it out. And when I played it through my system that has a lot of bass and a subwoofer, and he was like, holy shit, man, it really captures this. It totally caught it. It's like right there. You can hear everything. You can hear everything. It's, completely naked, and you can hear the guitar, the bass, ripper. And, so it was cool. And then, we did actually have something. Because with his schedule and with what I'm doing with Heavy's Texas, it was like we didn't find the way we were trying to shoot a video for one of the songs,
Right.
A cool buddy of mine that lives in Tokyo, my Australian buddy, tall, like 7 foot tall. Jason, he's he lives in Tokyo, and he was going to come out here. He's with GoPro, and he was going to shoot a video with us. But unfortunately, the scheduling just didn't work out, man. And I wasn't able to deliver a video with the release. But we do have live footage from the previous gig, and I think maybe next week we're gonna let go another one for another song. Yeah, man.
Now, how about like?
Tell me you can hear that. Can you?
Yeah.
Oh, you can? While waiting for you, I was just jamming out a little bit. I'm going through it. I love Stevie Ray Vaughan so much, man. I was doing the... I love that dude, man.
Such a beautiful sound. That's awesome. Wow.
That's my Yellow Priestess guitar, and this particular guitar on my all my guitars have a push switch where when I push it, my rhythm pickup goes out of phase. So it gets that You get that really twangy tone, and I love it. I used this particular sound on a brand new Heaviest Texas song, and I always wanted to do the Randy thing, man, where you know, when you hear his work, and especially when like You Can't Kill Rock and Roll, and
Mm-hmm.
when he just all those acoustic guitars, man. It sounds like an ocean of guitar, and you can hear every one of them. It's just like, "What? What's going on?" And you can hear the electric clean, you can hear the acoustic, you can hear. It's just so beautiful. I wanted to do something like that, or attempt to, in one of my songs. It's just the right time had never come, and so oddly enough, I had created this one rhythm part for this brand new Heaviest Texas song, featuring Kyle Thomas on vocals, and I scratched the guitar. So on the lower three strings, I created this pattern and just scratch descending with a pattern, and I keep repeating it. It became a part, you know.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was just cool to me because I've never heard that before. I was like, man, I made a part out of scratching guitars, you know. And man, it's crazy to tell you this, but the inspiration from it came years ago from that song from Herbie Hancock, Rocket. It comes from scratching turntables and stuff like that. But I turned it and made it a metal version. It's weird, but when you hear it, you kind of like, not that I gave that away to you, you might kind of see the hint from it. The original inspiration when I was a kid and I heard that rhythm pattern from Herbie Hancock, I kind of like mimicked it on the guitar, you know, with the turntable thing. And then years later, here I am. I did 4 guitars scratching, one rhythm guitar on top of it, and another one squealing. So that became my, you know, the one section, one part. And I've been playing that song live forever. And what I do in that instance is I use a sampler. So
Okay.
I'll play, you know, and I do it live. So then everybody actually watches after the first rhythm repeats. You're like, okay, yeah, he just did that and he's repeating. Oh shit, he just did that and he's repeating again. So he's adding to it, and there it is. So then from there on, I control it with my foot on and off. So I can't fuck up. When it's time to put it, you know, after that it's just like, holy moly. But go back to the acoustical side of things, you know. I finally had this chance to orchestrate this beautiful piece that I came up with for a verse, mind you, you know, like a rock ballad. It goes from one extreme to another. So this was me going from one extreme to another. So I used this guitar with this tone that you heard, and then I did that twice, and I had a steel string guitar. I used a couple of those tracks, and I had to bring in the 12 string, and I stopped there. And I have all kinds of other acoustics laying around, and I literally mean that. From banjo to mandolins to you name it, a parlor or, you know, resonator. I got all acoustic guitars, man, every single one of them. And
Wow.
it's been my life ambition. Washburn has been very kind to me, and I've told them, man, I'll be utilizing this shit on record, and like, you know, now the evidence is coming through. But I stopped right there. I stopped at the clean, you know. I didn't. It kind of like that's all I heard Randy do. That was like amplified. So I went there. So that was like let's see, 2, 4, 6 guitar tracks, and then I use a ambient line where I really like using a lot of reverb and echo at times, but we're using the volume knob and using chords. And when you swell it in, it gets a very ambient textural sound. And I did that underneath it. And then after that, I did like a violin sounding kind of thing. And then I thought to myself, where can I go, man? Where can I go to top this? Because it really sounds beautiful. And then I'm fortunate enough to have actually been on record and performed. Check this out. I performed with these 2 artists, and I've been on record. I've been on the record with them before, but we had never met in person. Like with the gig. Okay. So the gig was actually not a gig. It was a wake for one of my friend's son that had passed. So we went up to play a George Harrison song and a Beatle tune. And they were behind me. The bass player was behind me. So this is an orchestra, violin orchestra, you know, string orchestra. So I played with them after that. We just left, you know. That was a heavy, heavy deal. You know, I was just holding back the tears trying to play music.
What did you play While My Guitar Gently Weeps?
Golden Slumbers.
Okay.
And and so then we went to the studio and recorded it. And so when I went to the studio to record it, the string section was already done. So I went and did the acoustic guitars. And my buddy Michael, his son, liked me a lot, you know, before he had passed. And he liked metal, you know, he liked metal and all that. And so Mike had this vision of me playing acoustic guitars on the thing, accompanying the keyboard. And then I did that, and I doubled it up with harmony and kicked it up. And then at the end, they were like, you know, you do solo, man. You know, get feedback. Feedback was the key thing. You know, use a fuzz box or something, get nasty and get feedback. And I did, and I put my heart and soul in it because I really was thinking about that kid, man, the whole time I was in the studio, the whole time. And when I was playing every single note that was coming out, there was notes to me. I was just thinking of him. Like he was there in the room. I had a picture of him in a coin in my guitar case. I was just thinking of him hardcore. So there's moments like that where, you know, music takes a different, you know, takes you to places you're supposed to be at, you know, humbles you purely, purifies you. So we did that, and so when it came time to, you know this, you know, through the love and accessibility of social media, I befriended Jo Bird. Jo Bird is her name, and she plays in a band, man, called Fiddle Witch and the Demons of Doom, and she fucking rules, man. So I checked her out, and I was like, Jesus, man. I contacted her, and it's like she plays metal with a bass player and a metal. She just got a bassist and a drummer, and then she plays through this electric violin with like a, you know, distortion and all this stuff, and they play like heavy shit, man, heavy rhythms and stuff like that. And I asked her to come over, and she came over with the electric violin, but she already knew it, man. You could tell. As soon as she sat down, I was like, wow, man. I mean, the presence of, like, a real talent here. Her whole demeanor. She was completely awesome, down to earth. And then she was like, I think you may want this. So I brought this. She brought a real, you know, acoustic violin. As soon as I heard the sound of it, I was like, killer. So after that initial meeting, she contacted Chris, who plays bass, and then they both showed up this very last Sunday, and they played on two different tracks. Now, the one track, obviously, I'm talking about orchestrated when it goes into the softer side. They came in and just nailed that. They just, man, they took it from where it was, and now it's just like, oh, God, man. So it becomes very emotional. So I wanted that, and that's what music's supposed to do for you. And every time I hear it, man, I get moved by it. I'm so blessed to have been working with these two. But I got them to also play on a song that is heavy as all hell. And it's got a Texas groove to it, but it's just like, you know, a pouncing rhythm. I call it my metal cashmere because, you know, the symphony strings do the same thing Jimmy Page is doing on the guitar. Well, okay, and the rhythm that I created, I got them to do the strings on it, and they nailed it. And to watch, you know, these classically trained musicians playing metal with precision, man. How's that go, Marzi? And then just go, sorry, man, I can't get it right. I'm like, shit, man, that's cool. You know, on first attempt, maybe. And then they nailed it. They just sat there and watched it. And, you know, luckily I've been documenting most of these recording sessions for like a, you know, down the line, like a whole movie maybe, or a documentary or something like that. And so I got him on there, and I got his magic on this one song, man. So, yeah. The EP is what I should be talking about, and I will, but, you know, currently I'm in the studio working on the Heaviest Texas record, so you can kind of tell I'm, you know, as an artist. I mean, you you always work like an actor, and then, you know, your movie comes out, but then shit, you're working on another movie, man. You know, yeah. And that's what I've been doing. My EP is coming out, and I'm really happy with it, and I love Ripper, and I'm happy with the guys that played on it, and really just like elated with it all. But there was no, you know, with Kim's schedule, there's just no plans of playing live. You know, really? we can't. Well, we're trying to coordinate at least 2-3 weeks out of it. But Ripper is so tied up that, you know, I'm not going to sit around and wait. So, and I'm not waiting. And if we can work it out, it would be just badass because we worked together before. We could just do a little U.S. stint. That would be really wonderful. Right. But I'm currently doing the Heaviest Texas project. That's 5,000% is going to go tour, and I'm dying to play live. But, you know, one thing at a time. Right now, like I'm All my drum tracks are done. I finished guitar tracks on 3 songs complete with the strings and all that. I got a guitar solo to play on that song where I wrote one. I never write anything because I'm just like the Eddie Van Halen School of Playing. The guy, I grew up reading this guy who was my idol saying, I just go in there and wing it. And I thought to me, I was thinking, you have to feel it. You have to just be able to, like, you know, spew it out. But, you know, Randy didn't do that. Randy was thought out, dime, egg, you know, greatest metal guitar player ever lived. So thought out in his playing, and then fiery and fierce. So I was thinking, you know, in the tradition of Dime and Randy, I'm going to write a lead for this one song. You know, I really want to. So I did. I wrote a lead for this, and then I got like about, I think, 6 more songs to go on the guitar. Well, we got all the drum tracks done. We got our little Planet Caravan song on there, where it's just, you know, hand drums and acoustic guitars and stuff like that. There's a lot of Southern flavor on that guy. You know, I think I can't hide it. Even on a song on Monster Within, you see that Texas flow just busts out. As soon as the song takes a left turn, Clyde, it goes into that rhythm. You know, I do the little twangy thing, and it's like, yeah, here we go. And I like that song Pound for Pound on that record because, you know, again, I don't know, Without Warning too, it's got so many different avenues on it. Even though it's an EP, I kind of wanted to put a little bit of everything in there. I mean, undoubtedly, the title track is the heaviest one.
It's an EP, man. It really is. When I hear you say, like, you're not going to be able to do live shows, I mean, that's where I get bummed out. And it's not just you. Like, so many people I talk to, they're kind of like in the same thing where they're putting out these great, you know, EPs or LPs that are of music, but due to the, you know, the current of status of today's music industry, everybody's just so busy because they're doing so many different projects, and they can't tour.
Right. I'm committed to play with Tim and promote this at any time, at any single time. So it's really the ball in his court, and he's like, you know, I'll see his schedule, and it's all over the place. And it's, I think we're definitely talking about it. We definitely both want to do it. And I think we got people working on it right now. So, nice. I personally can't guarantee anything. I can guarantee my Heavy's Texas band, though, because we are going to tour. So I'm going to just finish up this, and, you know, if an opportunity comes for us to go out with Tim, dude, you know, my band could be ready overnight. So it's just you know, it's a matter of just getting together and doing it. We had so much fun jamming with him last time too, man. We got to, you know, I've never been a cover dude. You know, I just never have been. I was never really that guy that was like note for note. You know, right. So I guess maybe it was my insecurities growing up, or like too intimidated to just even think I was good enough to do anything. So I just sit around and just fuck around, like get an idea what somebody would do, and then just kind of spawn up my own thing, trying to kind of come up with my own. Now, there's nothing against, you know, learning shit note for note. There's, you know, because it only makes you kind of better. But I've never done that before. But since, you know, this gig came about, and we only have a handful of material, it's like, okay, shit, you know, let's play some cover material. So that kind of got fun. And I immediately was like, okay, well, everybody's going to expect this dude to do Iron Maiden and Judas Priest. So yep. let's just fucking be cliche, and let's play Painkiller, for God's sake, and let's play Rothschild, though. Let's play Rothschild, you know. So yeah, we played Rothschild.
I was gonna say, it was funny how you said too how you know, he recorded the scream for you and you didn't end up using it, because when I listened to the EP for the first time, I was waiting for it, and I'm sure everybody else is like waiting to hear that scream come out, and it never happened. So I think that's good, like you held it back.
But I mean, don't you agree that he does initiate the album once Monster Within comes on? He does do it right there.
Yes,
he does do it there. He does, you know, it's like that. And you're like, yeah, there was absolutely no interest in wanting to abuse his high range, his low range, my drummer's ability to play double bass fast, my coming in playing arpeggios, man, bass solo. It's like, no. We you know, I wanted to make sure this is my intention, man. I wanted to make sure with this appetizer, which is an EP, which I'm proud of, that the world knew that I was not just a guitar player, man. I have a vision, a musical, artistic vision, and I wrote the songs head to toe. I wrote the intro and the outro. That doesn't mean anything. I'm not patting myself on the back. I just wanted to just make sure that I wasn't just a guitar player. Live, I'm nothing more than a guitar player. Nothing more than a guitar. I'm not the sound guy. I'm not this and that. I just only contribute as a guitar player live. In the studio behind the scenes, you know, I'm a guitar player. I wrote the songs, and I'm mostly proud of the fact that I produced this record, man, and the way it sounds as a whole. I was responsible for the way it sounded, you know. So, and the way it was, you know, I'm proud of it, and I'm learning a lot as I go along. And Heaviest Texas is going to have the same quality, I would say, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It'll have the same quality and different quality, different material, but you know, definitely more bluesy. But I mean, I'm not saying or I'm not saying anything like that. But it's definitely got a killer blues, a heavy southern sludgy blues vibe to it, man. But it's got an edge to it, you know. But and it's got ambient parts where it drop out of the nowhere. So enough of me. Let's talk about my guitar.
Now, going back to like Randy Rhoads and all, and being a guitarist, like even Dimebag too, like you've got to have that experience to play a Randy Rhoads song on stage with Rudy Sarzo, as well as play a Pantera song with Phil and Rex from Pantera. Like that's got to be just a mind-blowing thing as a guitar player.
Yeah, man. I got to tell you, you know, everything that I just said about Randy, you know, and well, you know, about being in the studio and having that kid in my heart. Okay. It's happened with Dimebag before it happened with Randy, because I had to learn Primal Concrete Sledge. I never learned anything from Pantera before in my life, you know, and man, when I learned it, when I was practicing it, when I played it live, anything I did by that dude, man, he was my best guitar player friend ever. I just had him so close to me in my heart, man. I didn't think two shits about anything. All I could think about was just him, you know. I just could be like, okay, he's watching me. I'm his buddy. We're like bros, you know, but he's watching me. So, you know, I knew how he was, you know. He was just the perfect figure when it came to when that guitar was around his neck. It's just like, you know, perfection. So I wanted to make sure that was done right, and that was very emotional experience for me. Now, fast forward the tape to this first Randy Rhoads thing that I did, where I was supposed to play SATO, which is kind of like in the past couple of years have become my one song to give me to play, because I picked it. I love it. My son loves it. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to, you know, hook up my son and I'll play the song. So I picked it. And again, not the cover guy, I practiced the shit out of this motherfucker to make sure that I do it giving, you know, homage and, you know, respecting and honoring Randy, not going up there and going, hi, my name is Marzi. You know, it's not like that. It wasn't a me show at all, ever. It's about paying it forward, man. It's me practicing my dig off, so then when the opportunity comes to when I set foot on stage, I pay it forward. I give it back. I give it back to the artist I took it from. If it's even in my own original material, or in this case, it's clearly their material. Well, 2 weeks prior to, I get a call, hey, Sebastian Bach wants to sing SATO. Well, I'm thinking, cool, man. His stoner ass can get up there and just sing that song and stuff like that. And they're like, but he doesn't want to play with you. He wants to play with his guitar player who's bringing it. I'm like, okay, well, shit, man, that's cool, man. But you get another song. Well, fuck, man, what am I going to do? I'm not the cover dude. Can y'all give it to me? Time's like ticking, you know. I need to like get comfortable with this. So they're like, Gus G just canceled, man. He had everyone's favorite song that everybody picked, which is Mr. Crowley. They're like, you want to do Crowley? I'm like, yes, I want to do Mr. Crowley. So while I'm learning it, okay, I'm watching YouTube, and I'm watching this footage of Randy, Ozzy, Tommy Aldridge, Rudy, and God bless it, man.
Don Airy.
Thank you. I just saw him with Deep Purple, and that helps us. But a few years back, so Don Airy on that video, and I'm watching this consistently, you know. Well, my kids are about when they were, while I was practicing, I was like, oh man, check this out. I may get a chance to actually play with Rudy. I got teary-eyed every time I would see Randy just play and watching these videos. And that's on my own, man. I'm telling you this experience from like the heart, from the very first time I was learning that song. And man, it was just an emotional ride the whole time. It wasn't like playing guitar. It was just like tapping into this dude's soul and trying to do something right. So I didn't know though. I had no idea. But I remember telling my kids, I was like, I may get to actually play with those guys, Rudy Sarzo. You know, I grew up watching this guy, you know, like Quiet Riot, friggin' Ozzy, Quiet Riot, and then Whitesnake, and he's just always just been like this cool dude, you know. This cool ass, like everything about him is cool, you know. Rudy's like never been he's just cool. And I had no freaking idea who I was going to play with. There's no fucking sound check. You know, there's just like, here's your guitar. Here's, you know, there's just like, here's a Marshall. Here's just like, here, plug it and go. I'm taking a piss of all things, man. They're like, Marzi. You know, like they don't know my name. And I'm like, I'm taking a piss. They're like, you're up, dude. And I'm like, all right. And wash my hands, just fucking go up there, grab my guitar, jump on stage. And we start Crowley. In a loco, and you know, I didn't pay too much attention, but yeah, I did. I knew it was him. It was about being focused, and rocking this motherfucker out of the park, and rocking it with all my heart and soul. And that's, you know, when you see it, you don't see a flawless performance from me. But God damn it, if you can't feel the notes at this one certain points when I'm playing, you know, then you're not a real music lover. You know, because, yeah, I really, you know, there was just moments in there. So after I'm done, you know, and you can see me pointing because there was this little boy named Scoob, and his dad had him, 7 years old at the time, on his shoulder. And I'm all about just the kids, man, giving it back. The younger they are, the youth, I'm like all about them, man. After a show, a 12-year-old kid corners me, man, we could be talking about Cube Screamer pedals all night. I'm cool with it. So I point to that kid, hit my heart, point up to the sky, give my respect to Randy. By the time I put my hand down, Rudy's walking towards me, and he puts out his hand, and I'm like just dumbfounded, man. And I shake his hand and I say, "I love you, man." And he goes, "Come here," and he pulls me in and gives me a big hug, and that's on that video. And I was just like, man, I was like, oh, that's fucking. And then Michael Devin comes and gives me a hug, and then the keyboardist, my bud, comes up and gives me a hug from his keyboard. He had his cape on, Steven, insane keyboardist. And so it was just like a fuck, man, really, 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 really emotional night. And then after that, I had a funny ass conversation with Michelangelo and shit like that. And yeah, I'll never forget it. I got a little drunk afterwards because I was supposed to come join everybody to play D on acoustic.
Oh yeah.
So they had an outside patio, and me and my friends were out there, and they just like had too many tequila shots in this one short period of time. So I remember walking back. I'm like, hey, I think I gotta go play something. So I walk back in there, and as I'm walking back to the backstage area, like the curtain thing opens up, and Mark from Kill Devil Hill walks out, and I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, we just finished playing D. What are you doing? And I said, I just came here to play it. but I missed it. So anyways, that was just, we all laughed that one off. But, you know, after that, these last few years, like maybe 3 years, you know, fortunate enough to pick up a guitar and play D. And, you know, I've got good moments with that because Phil Demmel, which we nicknamed him Demelhead, him and I went to the bathroom, and there was nobody there because the backstage area was just like, fuck, it's so loud. And we went to the fucking corner where there was like some, you know, it's ambient anyways, and we practiced D like a few times over. And I did a shot, and we got out front, and we nailed it. But after that, one of Randy's students, her name is Robin, Her and I had an acoustic jam session too, and that was cool. That's the same night that I met Akira. So yeah, the Randy's things have been just wonderful. My jaw drops when I hear people like Joe Holstrom play guitar. You get to see Jeff Watson. It's just like, what the fuck? What a cool dude! What an insane genius as a person. Jeff's just like more than a guitar player. And when he starts talking about all that stuff, I feel so stupid. When he talks about Steve Morris coming over and invent stuff, and before his well, now he's like selling off, hooking his neighbors up with it and stuff like that. Water well, but mind you, and it's like, Jesus Christ, are you serious, brother? I'm barely learning a pentatonic scale. It's like. But he's been a gentleman, man. And, I get to watch him play backstage some of the Night Ranger licks and stuff like that. We're like, Don't Tell Me You Love Me. Get to watch, the lick that we all use hammer-on and pull-offs on. He actually picked it, and that pattern's so cool. So, yeah, it's just been, I don't want to just name one, two guys, but just too many to name. Too many.
Oh, absolutely. Cool. So, all right. So let's get the plugs out there. Let's tell everybody where they can get the EP and your Heaviest Texas stuff and all, and be prepared for the new Heaviest Texas, and let's get everything out there.
Well, Marzi Montazaeri is my name. Crunchy Western Records, crunchyWesternRecords.com. In our shop, and on the website, all the information's on there. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and all that. And then, as far as digital mediums go, it's on Spotify, iTunes, Napster, you just name it. You can find the EP anywhere.
Cool.
Digital copies, physical CDs and all, you can order from TuneCore. You can order it off of our website. Again, it's crunchyWestern.com. MarziMontazaeri.com. They both have shops that will take you there. And now at the end of this month, we'll have vinyl available too. For limited run, we're going to have the Uprising on vinyl.
Hey, I'll make you proud. Actually, I just stopped at my local vinyl record store this afternoon, and I came across a Loudness Lightning Strikes, and I picked it up.
Yes, that's I'm proud of you, man. That's awesome. I'm a vinyl nut myself, dude. Isn't it great? It's just like, when I look back to think to myself that I just like, the CDs came out and I just like packed my shit and just like sold it for nothing to somebody. And I was like, what the fuck was I thinking? Even if they were warped right now, I could, because remember, yeah. I mean, I don't know how young you are, but
you mean how old I am?
My friends would buy some of my friends that had money would buy double albums, just so they would put like the album. Like my buddy's wall, and his top of his wall was album covers. Every corner in the wall was album covers. It was so fucking awesome, man. It was so awesome. You just go in there and you're like, cool, A lot of my exposure at times was, you don't know about bands, Like before I had heard Santana, I had seen his album covers. I didn't know what the shit sounded like. I had seen that tongue. I didn't know what Rolling Stones were. There's a lot of imagery and stuff like that. I'd seen, growing up when I was very young, you get older cousins to go, you ever heard of the Stones? Check out this song, Angie. And you're like, oh my God. And then, I had an aunt go, this is my favorite song by this band called The Beatles. Check it out. It's called Yesterday. It fucking changed my life, man, when I first heard Yesterday. I got to tell you another time. I got to tell you something. When I first heard Time by Pink Floyd, I didn't even know what to think. I went to school. I just went to school and came home and was taking a shower and went to dinner and went to sleep singing that melody. I was possessed by it. And hey, listen, last night, I had the most proud as a dad moment in my life. I took my kids. They didn't know it. I had no idea. Everybody's scheduling this life of us today. Everything's just so fucking fast. I took my kids last night to see Roger Waters.
Whoa, there you go.
Awesome experience. They had no fucking clue till I walk up to the Toyota Center and then looked up and saw in the marquee, Roger Waters, awesome experience. And man, it was an experience. I mean, I got to say one thing, man. I don't know no other artist, no other artist. I know there's a lot of activist artists that are big, but I don't know no other artist as big as him that says "fuck you" the way he does. I've never seen anybody. He's 70-something years old. I've never seen anybody who balls that big, that popular, and that big. That was a humbling experience. It was a great experience. I'm a big Pink Floyd fan. And Roger Waters, maybe not a lot of people, he's definitely
That's awesome.
political. He just like, you didn't hold back anything, guys. Like, nothing at all. And he's in the middle of Texas doing it. So I was very proud as an artist to see that displayed.
Well, here's
I
my...
gave him a big hug. Go ahead. Do I start playing the blues now or later?
Here's my humbling experience where I have to say I hate to do this because I have a feeling I could sit and talk to you for hours. I got to be in a movie theater in 15 minutes so my daughters can see Spider-Man.
Oh, you rule, man. You do that, and it's been a pleasure speaking to you, Bay. It really has.
Absolutely.
Thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. And thank you for giving that album a chance. And thank you for looking into who I am, man. And hopefully, next time around we'll be more acquainted and, more people will know my name. All I'm trying to do is put this music out. Blue collar metal is what I call it, man. There's something for everybody out there.
And
for
you got to
everyone.
get up to Philly, too. So get on up here to
sorry?
Philly. Get up here to Philly.
Yeah, I love Philly. I fucking love Philly. Trust me, when we tour, we're coming everywhere. Promise you.
Good. I'm going to hold you to that.
You bet. Thanks for having me, Jay.
Thank you for everything.
You bet. Peace.